Since there was a bunch of confusion last week, specifically about assignment 7, a lot of people weren't exactly sure how to do it. It's also a tough assignment, and if you didn't do assignment 6, you're going to even find it more confusing. But if you click on assignment 7, I'll show you the parts because I'd like you to complete it now for next week. And you see there are 3 parts to it. I had discussion forum prompts and a document, which we'll take a look at. That's actually open. I'll open that down here. I have a PDF version. You have a .x version, and that is, you have a Word document. The reason I did it as a Word document is you could actually go in there rather than having to stay in the discussion board. Is as you're reading Plato's Euthyphro and the chapter from Stephen Kahn's book on ethics, God, morality, that's right below here, the one that I'm pointing the arrow to now, and the one I handed out in class, you can sit down in the document and take your notes to the prompt right there and just copy them over into the discussion prompt. And then I have a link to the Euthyphro Part 2 discussion prompts, which are the ones that I've mentioned up here. Now what I want you to do is to go in, actually do all of that reading and do the reading as you need, and I'll explain in a second how to do that because we'll actually go through the discussion prompts, and I want you to do that. I will be putting up lecture notes and videos at some point. I also have prompts that I want to put up for Plato's Apology as well for this week. But I want you guys to get on board with this and get on this assignment as quickly as possible, because like part 1 of this assignment, which is assignment 6, I want you to be able to not only post your own thoughts, but I want you to be able to go back into the discussion forum, read what your classmates have to say, think about what they have to say, and find areas in which you don't agree with them and try to help them out. Try to give them reasons to reconsider their position and why your position might be better. So right now, let's quickly turn to the discussion forum prompts just so we understand what's going on. And whoops, sorry about that. And here are the discussion forum prompts. The first one is asking you, and it's a very, 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 very long question. In fact, let me read this through with you guys so you know what's going on. The first part of our study of the Euthyphro ended with Euthyphro providing a second definition of piety, which was intended to be an improvement on the first definition. Right? The first definition Socrates had an objection to. Socrates' objection to the first definition was that according to it, one thing may both be pious and not pious, because there's a disagreement of the gods. You should have formulated an argument. If you didn't formulate an argument, go back to the other discussion prompts from the last section and formulate an argument now. To get around this problem, Euthyphro is driven to the claim, or to the new definition, that the pious is what all gods love. So it's only when all gods agree on something that thing is pious, and when all gods don't love something, hate something, then that thing is not pious. Perhaps this gets around the problem raised, but there should be something else that we should consider. Answer the following questions. Is this a theoretical discussion about some ancient polytheistic beliefs? We don't believe in these gods today. Nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but the vast majority of the civilized world, if they take religious belief seriously, they do not have, at least Western religious belief, they don't have all these other gods having fights about it. So this whole issue has been, at least the last definition, was kind of crazy, because it usually doesn't come up today, because most Western religions, at least, are monotheistic. There's only one God. And here are some hints, to think about. Is it relevant today? Are there people today who think that right actions are those that are commanded by God and wrong actions are those that go against the will of God? Above the entrance to the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. is a carving of Moses holding the tablets containing the Ten Commandments. Why do they choose this symbol to decorate the entrance of the Supreme Court of the United States? Is it that the Supreme Court, the law of the United States, is beholden to the Jewish religion or Christianity, the Ten Commandments? What's the relationship there? What about, and then finally, okay, what about God's nature would leave you to think that God's commandments hold a special status related to what's right or wrong or what's morally, that is, right or wrong? What about God? I mean, certainly, we know God's a real powerful being if he exists, right? So that was something that would scare people. You wouldn't want to go against God, because he's like the biggest guy on the block. You're not going to mess around with him. But because the guy happens to be the biggest guy on the block doesn't make what he's doing right. But what is it about God that makes us think it's not just a power grab, but it's something deserving, that his commandments are deserving to be followed, that is what defines morally right or wrong? That's the first thing I want you to think about.